Hello everyone. This is the second learning material in the lecture series of programming in C language. This is our first module. Prerequisites and subsection that we will discussing is concept of programming. Let's begin with the module. First of all, let's understand the concept of flowchart. So the flowchart is basically a pictorial representation of an algorithm that uses boxes of different shapes to denote different types of instruction. It generally helps to explain the logic and flow of the steps to solve the given task. It is more easy to convert the flowchart into the program. Error debugging is easier in flowchart as compared to the algorithm. It is better than writing algorithms also because it ensures that no process is left incomplete without action. But still, it has some limitations, like it is the time consuming and tedious task because proper shapes has to be drawn. Any change in the flowchart disturbs the entire flow and hence is difficult task. It becomes very lengthy to draw for huge tasks. Let's move to the next part and see some of the features of the flowchart. Every flowchart must have a start and an end, which is called as the terminals. There must be finite number of inputs as well as outputs. Then, in case of flow control, it must always enter an object from the top, but the connectors are exceptional for this rule. Flow control must always leave an object from bottom, but again here the decisional types are expected. Flow control must not split without decision objects. Flow must be unidirectional. Programmer must keep in mind while drawing the flowchart that each shape has a unique meaning and hence only the appropriate shape has to be drawn. When it comes to draw the flowcharts, it is necessary to use the specific shapes only. Let's study those shapes with their meaning. So the very first shape is an ellipse, which is used to show the start or the end of the process. Next one is the parallelogram, which is used to show the inputs and outputs. After this, for the ongoing process of any type, we use rectangle. In any process, there are few lines which are only for the understanding the meaning and are not the part of actual program. Those are called as the comments. So for comments, we use an open rectangle. As we already discussed that computer can't take decisions, so we help the machine to take the decisions. For that we use is the decision structure. Shape of diamond is used for the decision statement. See, here flow enters from the top but leaves only from both the sides and not the bottom. Few times there are some repetitive action has to be performed. So how many times they should be performed is defined by the loops. These sets the test parameters to set the resultativeness. The statement that have to be repeated for a defined number of time are written in the dashed blocks. Last but the most used things are the connectors and the flow lines. The connectors are used to connect the flow where the control is passing from a different branch. It's a very good habit to follow the rules of flowchart and use the connectors where control is entering from many branches to a single block. And the flow lines are nothing but the arrow which describes the directional of the control and flow of the logic. Here, let's try to understand how to write an algorithm with the help of a non-technical example. Write a flowchart for deciding what action to be taken against a person calling you. Let's begin the process with a start. So next step would be take an input that is to read caller's name. Now, as we are knowing that who is calling us, it's time to think, is the person call is important or not? Let's consider the simple response. Yes. So, if the answer is yes, then no problem. You will answer the call and talk to the person and hence come to stop. Process is finished. But if your answer would have no, then what to do? Let's find out. So, in that case, you should be thinking that you don't want to talk right now. So, how to approach the situation? There are two ways. Let's say that person really doesn't mean anything to you. So, you will be just let the phone ring till the person cuts it, and hence the process will be stopped. But on the other hand, if you want to handle the situation nicely, so you will reject the call simply with a text message with any random reason, and in that way the process will be stopped. So, in this way, we can draw a flowchart for any given task. We will be discussing some interesting tasks in our separate video. Thank you. Here we have finished the theory part of the subsection.